Hey guys, welcome back to this new video. This one's going to talk about my time as a member of the Nike Oregon Project, some reasons why I joined the team, some things I went through on the team, the things I went through finding out about my coach Alberto's suspension, and just some of the perks of being on the team. A couple of disadvantages, but really there wasn't any. I really had an awesome time. This is a great conversation we had on Twitch. Again, I go live on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. At about 7:30 East Coast time. We just hit 400 followers just on the other day on the stream. So I appreciate all the follows over there. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Comment below if you like these kind of videos or want to see more of these kind of testimonial type stuff. I'm trying to mix up the content a little bit here and see what you guys really enjoy. So make sure to leave a like, leave a comment below if you do enjoy these videos. And this is kind of part of a mini 3-part series as I'm going to be away from the stream here for a week. So trying to get some content pushed out to you guys. So this is part of a 3-part series here. First part about the Nike Oregon Project, and then there'll be 2 more coming up very shortly. But head on over to Twitch, make sure to follow over there, subscribe below, and enjoy the video. Thanks guys for everything. So let's get into the NOP thing. I know that's kind of somewhat of the hot topic, and I know that you can say that it was sort of danced around a little bit when everything happened. So I'll start from the top with NOP. So I obviously had a lot of success in 2016 at the University of Akron. I turned pro right before. Thanks for the gifted. Danny, appreciate it. Jacob, welcome. Welcome to the subs, the All-Americans, the NCAA champs. I don't forget what the tiers are right now. But I had a lot of success at Akron at Labadie. I turned pro before the trials, ran the trials. At that time, I had a strong plan to stay at the university and stay training under Coach Labadie in Akron. And then I made some decisions in life, in track and field after really during the winter of 2016 into 2017, where I decided that me joining a Nike group was my best option to what I thought was take myself to the next level. And that the next level to me was trying to break American records and win another Olympic medal in 2020 and compete for world titles and stuff like that. So 2017 was a transition year for me. I was still under Coach Labadie, spent almost the entire summer in Oregon, transitioning there. And then at the end of 2017, I had a slight knee injury, had a little surgery, and then after the surgery, Alberto Salazar took over coaching me. And so as a member of Nike Oregon Project, I was coached 100% by Alberto Salazar. And from the day that I even thought about committing to the team and making that transition to the team, I asked questions from day one about everything that was sort of in the news, as you say. Obviously, I'm not dumb, I'm not blind. I saw what was being said. But I worked with Nike, worked with Alberto, worked with the team to kind of make that decision for myself that I thought it was still the best option for me. And I never would have went there if I thought it was not the best decision or not a smart decision or something that I felt was not right. So I joined the team. Alberto took over my coaching. As far as the athletic side of it and the coaching side and the training side, it was almost a drastic difference for me. So Labadie's training, which we can talk about more later in another video, is very kind of simplistic and ebb and flows, and it's more of quantity over quality, but not quantity as in mileage and like 10 by mile. It's 2, 3, 4 workouts a week versus like 2 high intensity workouts, which is really what Alberto's training is built around, is like 2 high intensity workouts and then a decently tough long run. So that was a kind of a gap for me, because what ended up happening was almost every workout became my hardest workout. I kept using that term instead of just saying like, oh wow, it's a difficult workout. I kept using that term, which was a kind of a cop out. 2017 indoor season was obviously extremely tough with the transition, with what was going on, and then obviously coming back from injury and training and trying to catch up. 2017 indoor was extremely tough, and so into 2017 outdoor, obviously, then 2018 indoor, and then into 2018 outdoor. had success, and obviously 2019 ran well, made the world final. 2018 ran 143 low, almost breaking 143 again. So I mean, I had a lot of success, and I think there was a lot of opportunities that we were learning from very quickly, and I think that we were right on the brink of really something special with what I was doing there. And obviously how things progressed at the end of season last year, we'll talk about in a little bit, but kind of obviously put a break on what was going on with life and training and me being in Portland under Alberto. If you're a member of the Nike Oregon Project, I want to be careful here what I share as far as legality of stuff. You are a Nike athlete just like anybody else. You just receive benefits of being on the team versus having like a separate, you don't sign a team contract, I guess I should say that. You just join the Nike Oregon Project or the Nike Bowerman team or Nike Oregon Track Club, or you join a Nike Sprint group or whatever. I don't know how the brands work, but that's just how you're still an individual athlete, individual contract. Everything's based around yourself. You're just on a team. And on that team, you are supplied with, I don't know how to, other than goods, I guess goods and services. I don't know how else to kind of put it. So we had a full-time massage therapist. We had a full-time physical therapist that was also our strength coach. We had access to Darren Treasure, who you guys heard last week, as a mental performance coach. And then obviously Alberto Salazar being a full-time coach. We had access to many types of recovery modalities like cryotherapy, Alter-G, the Nike training facilities, which have a pool, sauna, hot tub, steam room. We had access to some testing that the Nike Innovation's able to do. What else do we have? I mean, we had a Novathor, red light laser therapy, ice tubs, obviously. So we just had all these things that it was really like a very fancy collegiate team. And you had the retrospect, but also at the same time, there was no, at the same time you're on a team, you weren't necessarily like on a team. Like there wasn't like a requirement to work out with people. Alberto's coaching style is very much individualized of like what is best for you at this exact time. If he can make it work for you to work with other people, that happens. If it doesn't work for you to work with other people, then you tough it out, you work by yourself. So it's something for me that was already something I was somewhat accustomed to, working out at least somewhat on my own and then transitioning into that. And then Jesus, that's a name. Thanks for the follow though. And so I transitioned into that. With Alberto's group, it was really just Yomif and I, Galen. Matthew obviously was transitioning out as I joined. So we really didn't do much together at all. We were only really there for a short time together. We did a very few things together. So majority of my work was with Yomif Gajelcha. And so a lot of my focus as well was more in the mile and versus the 800. And so a lot of my stuff was strength, high intensity, aerobic based stuff. And so a lot of my training was long tempos, lots of 400s, lots of miles, lots of Ks, breakdowns. When I say breakdowns, like 6-5-4-3, 6-4-3-2, 4-3-2s, those type of breakdowns, ladders or whatever people call them. And so different things like that. And that was kind of how my training was worked with Alberto. Was, again, like I said, very individualized. He was very, like I said, very high intensity, very high energy, very get after it, like work really hard. But at the same time, he was very careful in looking at things that if you weren't ready to go on that day, he was very careful about sort of like pulling you back a little bit or cutting off a little bit of the workout or throwing you on the Alter-G or different things like that. Like, I mean, he was very careful about that, but he was also very aggressive still at the same time and wanted to get the best out of you, even when you thought you couldn't get something done. Like, he kind of made a way to get it out of you. So any similarities between Alberto and Lee Labadie? I see similarities in the way that they care about their athletes, the way that they talk and really explain things to their athletes, the way that they're open and willing to work with their athletes. like I said, caring was the first thing that I noticed. Is like Coach Labate and Alberto care so much about their athletes. They treat them like their family. They treat them like their own from day one. So that was the first thing that I noticed. As far as training similarities, slight similarities, but at the same time, Labate's very, you need to run X miles X day. Alberto was like, hey, here's your weekly mileage. Here's what we're going to do for a long run. You actually kind of know roughly what your workouts are going to be, so fill in the days around it. So he's a little bit less lenient on those things. So there was some very slight similarities, but nothing super similar. I was running 70 miles a week with Alberto. There was very few ebbs and flows with mileage, even through racing. It was very much 70 miles a week, even through the early parts of the season where I was racing. So that's where a difference comes in. Is Alberto is very consistent with mileage, and Lee Labate is very kind of ebbs and flows of like, we're going to run 60 miles, but we're going to run 65, 65, 60, 55, 50, 55, 60, 65, 65, 65, 60, like very ebb and flow with everything. So some other differences is Alberto's training is more speed oriented versus, even as the miler quote unquote training, Labate is much more cautious on what kind of speed he gives you. There's a difference there. There's always kind of that rumor that like NOP trains speed year round. I wouldn't say we train speed year round. I would say that we do like strides, accelerations, 200s, 150s, 80s, like pretty consistently throughout the year, just to maintain that. And that's something that I've actually brought over into my training now still, is kind of bringing in that sprinting. We don't ever do really max velocity sprinting, I would say, but we do some very high intensity, high fast like sprints. Like I had a couple of days where I ran 100s and 200s at, I wouldn't say all out, but like pretty hard. So I'll talk about the end of my time at NOP, and then I'll transition into kind of something else here. My time at NOP ended because they disbanded the Oregon Project. I heard about Alberto's suspension the morning of the final in Doha at 5:30 a.m. in Doha, and that final was at night that night. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to text messages that said, don't open your phone, don't open your phone, don't open your phone, and obviously I opened my phone. So I was very bothered by it. I'm a very, like I said, emotionally attached person to things, and Alberto is family to me, and that was something that was very close to me and very extremely difficult on a personal level as much as a professional level. And so it was an extremely difficult day for me from 5:30 a.m. on. So I spent time, I deleted all social media at one point. I muted all my messages. I had literally like WhatsApp going just to keep track of my agent, and that was really it. And I mean, I was talking with Ari, and like that was really like it. And so I was rooming with Bryce Hoppel, staying in Team USA Hotel. I moved that morning to the Nike Hotel and got my own room at the Nike Hotel, and kind of locked myself away in the Nike Hotel for the day, and just kind of wanted to turn everything off and try to black everything out, because that's what I thought was best, and I still think was the best decision for me. I showed up to the race feeling physically extremely well. I felt extremely confident physically. I was really like kind of zoned out a little bit of everything going on. Obviously getting off the bus, there's cameras in my face. I mean, I was kind of the highlight. I mean, Donovan was racing too, but they'd made it pretty clear that like Donovan was a Pete Julian athlete. And so there was a lot of cameras in Donovan and I's face, but I got off the bus with like Dr. Treasure, and like, I mean, the cameras are right there. Like putting the bus in the tent in the warm-up area, like cameras. And so it was hard not to like know what was going on, and everyone kind of, a couple people just like mentioned it, and I was just kind of like, I don't want to talk about it, obviously, before the race. So when the race started, I was extremely confident. I felt extremely good. I hit that 500 meter mark, 400 meter mark, and just things fell apart. Physically, mentally, I was out of it. after the race, I was pretty devastated. Obviously, I felt I physically was in much better performance shape than what I showed in that day, and it was an extremely difficult and disappointing day for me. And after that, obviously I go home and I just turned off everything for a while. I didn't run. I took my time off. I didn't care about the race. I stopped caring about the results. I didn't worry about what was next for me for a while. I just kind of wanted to enjoy life. And so I did that, enjoyed life. Was planning a wedding at the time. I mean, there was a lot going on in life. And then I had the decision to make of what was next for me going into 2020. And for me, it became down to a couple decisions of joining another Nike team, staying with Pete Julian. There's a couple other coaches that Nike had. There's a couple other coaches my agent had that he kind of talked about. And then coming back to Lee Beatty was something very consistently that came up. And so that was that. The decision for me to find the coach was something that I took very seriously. I did consider joining Pete Julian's group. I won't disclose my entire reasoning, but I thought the fit for me from a coach-athlete perspective fit better with Coach LeBeatty. I know that obviously having Craig Engels, Eric Jenkins, Donovan, those guys as training partners would have been some of the best guys obviously in the U.S., if in the world, to train with. And so for me, that was something that was difficult to kind of pass on. But I thought for me to get to the next level, which is breaking the American record and beyond, and competing for a medal at 2021, is to be with Coach LeBeatty and be back here. So obviously the logistics of moving back here with an Olympic year happening, life happening with rent agreements, lease agreements, moving across the country. I have a wife, I have 2 dogs, we have stuff. Like, couldn't just pick up and drive a car across the country and find a place. Like, there was a lot of things that went into moving. And so coronavirus in a sense very well helped me, because it gave me an opportunity of a little break to do things like that, of moving, because I was going to have to potentially move after the Olympic trials, before the Olympics, and there was a lot of things of like issues. So that's really like the gist of my time at the Oregon Project. And a lot of people ask me, like, do I regret it? And I was like, no, I don't regret a single thing about joining the Oregon Project. I didn't see a single thing that I felt should not have been happening. I would have left. I would not have stood for it. I hope that there's a lot of things that I don't want to get into the details of Alberto's case. There's a lot of things that I think are borderline both ways. But I think there's a lot of things that are pushed into USADA's favor versus Alberto's favor that aren't really one or the other. And so there's a lot of things like that. So I hope that he really does get the true retrial that's supposed to happen at the end of the year. And I hope that for his own sake, he's cleared. I don't think I'd move back across the country, go back with Alberto. It's just not what should happen right now in my training and in life. I mean, I'm not going to move back across the country again. But it's just because, like I said, Alberto is family to me, and I really care about him and care about my time there. And I think it's something that I believe in. So that's really it for the Nike Oregon Project. My time there was really, really good. It was really, I mean, I learned so much so quickly there. I had so many opportunities, and it was a great thing for me and a great opportunity. And now back with Coach LeBeatty and back in Ohio. So yeah. So that's kind of the Nike part of it, the Oregon Project part of it. Wish I had some water up here. Oh well. But let's do I mean, if anybody has any last minute questions, like, we can cut them in about the Oregon Project here. I'll give it a couple, like, minute or two to kind of ask. But again, like, I mean, like I said, it was a pretty difficult time and a transition for me. But I believe that 100% I made the right move and 100% did what was best for myself, for my family, and for what was going on. I mean, I have to really consider that, because at the same time I'm a professional athlete, I'm also a husband, and also eventually want to start a family at some point here. So I mean, there's a lot of decisions that go into life and running that are beyond the stopwatch and beyond those type of like things. So yeah. Do you miss the support at all you had with NOP, or is now more or less the same? I will say this is how I described my, we'll call it support. And hold on, Spence, if you want to throw this in the NOP one, if you could cut this and clip it and throw it in the NOP. So one of the reasons I joined the NOP is I felt like my support was like a bucket. Okay. And I wanted to put everything in the bucket of support. And what my issue was I had the right things, but I had to kind of reach and kind of organize things to get that support around everything. I had to kind of figure out massage. I had to schedule around the team. I had to work with Coach Labady at a certain time. I didn't have a mental performance coach. My physical therapist was like 45 minutes away, and I was paying for it on my own and working around his clinic hours. There's a lot of things that were good. Like, I had good people. By no means were they like the greatest, but they were very good people. But I was kind of having to work around a lot of schedules. With the NOP, that bucket is literally the bucket of resources. Like, I just pick and choose as I need. I need a physical therapy today, I go see a physical therapist. I need a massage, I go get a massage. Like, it was very easily. I've moved back to a system where that bucket is no longer 100% exactly filled with what I need, but I've set it up now much better because, one, I don't have school. Coach Labady's got a little more free time. I am more mature. I know what's going on. I know how to handle my life now. I know how to handle the structure of training, that I don't need to stress about a lot of things. But I've also kind of added some new people since I've been back that, like I said, the massage therapist comes to my house. I go to the same clinic as massage and PT. The PT and massage therapists are super supportive of what I'm doing. Coach Labady is flexible. I work with Darren still over Skype and over FaceTime and over phone calls and text messages. So everything for me is theoretically as simple or as good as what I had at the Oregon Project. It's just slightly there's slightly scheduling to it, like being in a clinic and stuff like that. Like, you have to schedule and stuff. But other than that, like, I think the support I have now is as good as what I had at the Oregon Project. And so both support groups cared about me and want me to be successful. So that's the key thing for me, is if I have a support group that wants to see me be successful and willing to do as much as I'm willing to put in, it really is what I like to see. So, I guess here's another NOP thing, Spence. The Salazar stuff, did it stress you out at Worlds and affect your championship performance? I think to sit here and say that it didn't, it would be a lie. I would like to say that I did everything I can to combat the stress and the anxiety and what I was going through that day. I did everything I could to prepare myself for the race still. But to sit here and say that it didn't affect me, I think would be a lie. So to answer your question very simply, yes, I think it affected me. So